Hello, dear friends, and good morning on the 8th of September. Today, we have one of the most interesting aspects during this year. We have the culmination of the Sun-Saturn cycle. So we will explore this, and I will take you back to the beginning of this cycle so that you can perhaps remember or analyze or see from the perspective of time what this period was related to in your life. And from there, you can kind of like analyze better what is the current topic in your life, because this is the culmination, like the peak level, the peak point of this same cycle, this same process that has started. So let me share my screen and we will get started. So this is the chart for today. Just a few words before we get to the Sun-Saturn cycle. Let's start with the moon, because the moon is always representing the energy that is mostly on the surface, that we can feel and connect to easier. It's like, it's like just surrounding us. So today the moon is in Scorpio, just like yesterday. So the intensity is still higher. The possible tension is also higher than usual. And from another point of view, today the aspects of the moon are much more harmonious. Yesterday, we had a square with Pluto, which is adding even more tension on top of all of the tension that we already had. Today, actually, the moon in Scorpio will have positive aspects to the Sun-Saturn opposition that we will discuss, this culmination, the culmination of this cycle. So the moon is supporting this opposition, which means that we can resolve this possible conflict or the challenges in a more harmonious way. Here, it's very important to make sure that we go deep into the things that are happening in our life or the processes that we are experiencing. The Scorpio moon suggests that we are not just looking at something on the surface, how it looks like, or what does it mean, maybe short term or for the present moment. The processes that we are going through can unfold, can manifest for a long time from now, not necessarily only in the present. From one side, this is because Saturn is a planet which can bring delays. So you might realize something, you might get kind of like deeper into your understanding about something, but it may take a while until this manifests or until you can make the necessary or wanted changes. So one of the main focuses is don't kind of like stay on the surface, but instead try to understand things deeper. And yes, from one side, this is not a harmonious position for total relaxation and just doing nothing on Sunday. But from another point of view, there could be some rewards, and all of this process can be meaningful and worth it for us. So overall, the day is intense. There is still some kind of tension, but it could also be productive. That's the important part. There is a way out. There is something we can do with this energy, which is very, very supportive. So let's get to this opposition, the Sun and Saturn opposition. The Sun is 17 degrees or 16 degrees and 4 minutes in Virgo, and Saturn is 16 degrees and a couple of minutes in Pisces. So obviously, Virgo and Pisces are the signs which are triggered the most, but also if you have important planets in Gemini and Sagittarius, especially kind of like the middle 10 degrees of the signs, then this opposition will trigger you even more. We need to find the balance balance between the practical and the more kind of like untraditional or invisible or something which is beyond the rational understanding. Virgo and Pisces. One of the most important topics for this axis is related to serving other people, serving some kind of cause. This idea that you commit yourself to some kind of activity, or for some people, this may even feel like a mission or something really. Mission is a really, really strong word. So we need to be mindful when we use it, but let's say something in this direction, something closer to commitment, dedication, and really like putting your heart into something. So finding the balance, this service and this dedication and commitment to something that is, let's say, may feel like a dream or something that is very dear to our hearts. Saturn is always related to the process of maturing and growing up. And of course, this is always also connected to responsibility. So those are some of the most important topics we need to explore. And here I would like to take you back to the beginning of this cycle, which was around the end of February, the beginning of March 2024. The exact conjunction has been on the 29th of February 24. We can see here the Sun, Saturn, and pay attention also, Mercury has been part of this conjunction. So this conjunction between the Sun and Saturn means that we need to become more responsible and perhaps let go of some kind of unrealistic expectations, kind of like unrealistic dreams, or here is the better part, to kind of like roll up our sleeves and start doing something concrete for the things that we are dreaming about or our deepest desires. In other words, this Sun-Saturn conjunction in Pisces was about stop waiting for something to come into your life without any effort from your side. And at the same time, realizing that if we are dreaming about something, if we want something, then we also need to take responsibility for that and to do concrete things for that. This is Saturn. In combination with Mercury here, this has been very helpful for having the chance to analyze things and to also analyze ourselves. So that was the beginning of the cycle. So you can try to look from the perspective of time. What was going on in your life around February, March 2024? Which were the most important areas in your life? Where was your focus? How were you experiencing this time? And today, the 8th of September, we have the culmination. The culmination is the opposition. Symbolically, you can imagine this as a full moon. So the beginning of each cycle, conjunction between two planets, is like a symbolic new moon for those two planets, which means beginning of something new. And then when the planets get in an opposition, it's like a full moon. It's like the culmination. It's the time when we can kind of like receive the fruits, or kind of like, yeah, get to a very important point when we can understand things better. The full moon, which is the traditional culmination of, the most typical cycle we explore, the solar lunar cycle. This is the time when we can see something more clearly. And the same is possible right now for this Sun-Saturn opposition. So we have the chance to see from a more practical perspective, Virgo, from a more analytical perspective, concrete, kind of like grounded perspective. Where do we need to grow up? Where do we need to take more responsibility? Where do we need to roll up our sleeves and do something for the things that we are dreaming about? The opposition is always also a good time for kind of like facing the truth. And with Saturn, this could be a bit of a harsh truth. So don't hide, don't try to sugarcoat things. Don't try to get too much into the Pisces energy. Like, I will just visualize and I will just dream and something will come out of nowhere. That's not the working strategy right now. Instead, with the Sun in Virgo, we can be, I would say, more self-critical, but not in a non-constructive way. I mean, here we can do it in a very honest way to see, okay, here I made some mistakes. Here, for example, I was not mature enough. Here, I was not responsible enough. Or here I had some kind of illusions or unrealistic expectations. So that's the truth that we want. It's not about putting yourself down or using this for this non-constructive self-criticism that is just paralyzing you. No, but it's also not about, oh, I don't need to do anything. Everything will manifest in my life. And that's also not going to work. So honest self-analysis, that's how I would describe it. Again, the moon in Scorpio is helping us because it can bring more depth, deeper understanding. And also Scorpio is a sign which is not afraid of the truth. Scorpio is a sign which wants to get to the root of things, to the deeper meaning. So my recommendation, don't be afraid of the truth. Don't be afraid to see, admit, recognize some of your mistakes, especially around this time, around February, March 2024, or since then. Because around February, March 2024, some kind of new process has begun in your life. It might be helpful actually to check where do you have this degree in your chart around the 10th, 9th, 10th degree of Pisces? Where is it in your chart? In which house specifically? Are there any planets in your chart that were triggered by this conjunction? In this way, you will find like a more personal focus of what this was related to or what was triggered in your life. And then today, or even in the next couple of days, even during the next week, try to observe and to honestly analyze what kind of mistakes have I made, or where was, like a focus or an area where I wasn't responsible, or I wasn't really, I would say, like an adult, because Saturn is this energy that kind of forces us to grow up and to behave as adults. And if we resist the process, this is never, ever constructive. So this opposition today could be a great time for us to realize, where are we? Some of us may realize, I'm doing actually pretty well. I did very important work since then, or I grew up, or I'm maturing, especially in this area that was triggered in your chart, like the 9th, 10th degree of Pisces, where it falls in your chart. You might recognize that, actually, I deserve a tap on my shoulder, and I did some pretty nice things, and I put some effort, and yeah, I deserve some, I would say, to be proud with myself. That's also a great realization. And for some of us, we may see this. Or other of us may see that, I didn't actually do my best, or here I wasn't acting like a grown up, or here I could have done better, or I need to take more responsibility for this. So both of those are possible. Obviously, that's something personal, individual for each of us. And also, it's very, I would say, human and very realistic to recognize both, to see that, actually I did some good stuff here. I had some progress, or I was trying to be more responsible or to do more things. And at the same time, also to admit and to recognize, but there are other stuff where I, didn't do my best, or I could have done better, or this is something which I can change. So wherever you are on the scale, from feeling completely proud with yourself to being very disappointed, wherever you are, the important thing is to be honest and to look at things as the way they are. That's what Saturn, and especially Saturn in Pisces, represents. To be realistic. And from there, of course, you can change something. Once you are honest about where you are right now, what has happened in the past, how much is that? Is it maybe half a year or something like this, approximately? What has changed, or what were you able to achieve? What you were not able? And once you have this clear understanding, this could be like a restart. The opposition, it's the culmination of the cycle, but this can also be like a restart, especially if we realize, I need a fresh start, I need a new beginning, or I want to get to another level. The opposition allows this. So especially if you realize that I really didn't do my best with this process that started around February, March, or you are not fulfilled with the results, or maybe something that was, again, developing since then, this could be the time when you can say, okay, time for a fresh start. And that's completely okay. That's actually beneficial when we have the opposition between the Sun and Saturn. So a very, very important opposition. The next process will be, again, during the spring. And during the spring, we are going to have the last conjunction between the Sun and Neptune in Pisces. The Sun and Neptune in Pisces, but also the Sun and Saturn in Pisces. So I would say very important day for honesty, or being honest with yourself, doing like, I would say, like an audit. Virgo would love this. The Virgo energy is about, let's check the details. Let's check the concrete information we have, not just how we visualize, how we wish things would be, or how we see them in our mind, but let's check the facts in reality. That's how Virgo contributes or helps the process. To rely not only on your dreams, visions, and inner feelings, how it feels, but to try to get to this more external, objective perspective. And it happens when we check the facts, the actual facts in our life. So as we can see, this is a very important day, and I would say the whole week will be kind of colored by this energy. So my recommendation for today, be honest with yourself, do this self-analysis, but also use it for like a restart, to do something new, or to kind of like start in a new way. So I hope you will enjoy the day, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Also, we are preparing to get started with the next flow of our Astrology Academy. You can join us for free for the beginning, for the first part. So if you feel like you want to go deeper into astrology, or you want a more structured, organized place with lots of practice, we have some fantastic things for this year. So check the information below, join our Telegram group for free, and we are starting very, very soon. So that's all for